Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I finally made it. Welcome, Sita. Thank you for joining us. Just want to connect my microphone so that we can get the sound properly. I want to start by apologizing. I'm very sorry for coming online late. I had a challenge with my network. So as you can see, my background today is different. I had to shift around the house to get a network. Thank you for joining this afternoon. So Pretoria is getting a bit cold right now, but we are still enjoying the weather. I wonder how you are doing where you are. Just let me know where you are watching from. Invite a friend, tag a friend if you would like them to listen to what we have today. So today I'll be looking at maintaining a long distance relationship. I'll also be looking at why most men marry outside their churches, something that the singles must join me on. Please, if you know somebody who is single and is has been complaining that the men in the church are not marrying them, but they are marrying those outside the church, please invite them, tag them, and just let them know we are having a discussion about the single people in church. And lastly, we're going to talk about dating your spouse. So thank you very much for joining me. My name is Francine Chirambo, your relationship coach, and I'm so excited. I hope you are as excited as I am to be here. Okay, so my day so far, I went for Bible study. I was sharing at the Bible study. Hi, Natasha. Wonderful to have you. So I'm just coming from a Bible study and we were talking about knowing your God. Okay, that was my sharing from the book of Daniel chapter 3. Do you know your God? Okay, where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to bow down to the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar built. So I was just sharing about what we need to know about ourselves and maintaining our stance. Okay, do we know our God, and can we stand even when we are going through a tough situation? Can we still say, I shall not bow down to another God? So that is something that we're talking about, and it was so exciting for me. So now let's look at our topics for today. This afternoon, I have some interesting topics that I will be looking at. If you have anything that you would like to talk about in future, please feel free to inbox me, or you can just leave the topic in the comments and I'll be happy to come out here and discuss or just share my thoughts with you and share my experiences with you. So we'll start by looking at maintaining a long distance relationship. Firstly, I'll start by defining what a long distance relationship is in case somebody out there doesn't know. Before I do any presentation, before I speak about any topic, I always want to define it so that everybody understands what I'm talking about. And for those that don't know me, I share or I help to build relationships based on Christian godly principles. So I'm blessed to have a relationship with God, and I would like to teach others to know about my God and also to know what the word says about relationships. So this is something that has built me, and this is something that I always fall back on. So that is what I would like you to know. So talking about long distance relationships, somebody wrote, Good afternoon, Francine. I would like your advice and tips on how best to maintain a long distance relationship. Are you in a long distance relationship? Do you know somebody who is in a long distance relationship? Please tag them. We need to help them out because long distance relationships are not easy. Okay. Firstly, a long distance relationship is defined as a relationship where two people are not staying in the same geographical area. So you're staying in another town and your spouse is staying in another town. We do have some couples that are dating, they're not married yet, and they are dating from different provinces or different countries altogether. So this is something they need to know about, and perhaps they will be assisted to make a better decision. I like that, Natasha. I'm one of them. So you've come to the right platform. So if you are separated geographically with your spouse or with your partner, this is the right topic for you. So you must know firstly that putting yourself in such a relationship is going to be it's going to make you grow apart. Okay, so you choose to go into this kind of a relationship. Sometimes it's not by choice. Some people choose to stay in different locations because of a time that they are going through in their lives. So sometimes it's not really by choice. It's something that happens because perhaps it's they need to raise some money or somebody has to go to school. So there are various reasons why people find themselves in this situation. But one thing you must know is that when you choose to go into such a relationship, or if you and your husband or your wife decide to stay apart, it means you're opening yourselves up for a lot of challenges. So this is something that must not be taken lightly, and the relationship needs to be nurtured more than a relationship where people are in a normal relationship. All right. So firstly, I also want to talk about what we all know about marriage. We know that marriage requires a lot of work. We know that it requires a lot of commitment. So being in a long distance relationship and you are not committed is going to be a big problem. I'm going to share a few points with you. I'll share a few points with you that I would like you to just understand and see whether you can improve on them. Okay, firstly, I would like to talk about prayer. Okay, because the first thing you must do when you decide to have such a relationship is to pray. Pray for wisdom. You are getting into this kind of relationship. Pray for wisdom. Ask God to guide you on how best you are going to change the strategy. So you are used to this kind of strategy, and you are going to be far apart for a while, and you will need a new strategy. So if you are not yet married and you're just dating, you should also pray about it. You know, let God guide you, and it's going to help you make a decision whether you should stay like that. It's not even advisable, I must say, to stay apart. You are opening up a lot of doors. If you are not yet married and are planning to get married, I would advise that you consider changing locations. Move up to where your future wife or your future husband is. That is going to work out better for you. And for couples that are just starting out, it's not the best way of doing things. This I can assure you. Please, if you are dating and you intend to stay in different places, it's going to be a lot of pain and a lot of work for you. So something to think about. So you pray for wisdom and you ask God to give you the kind of wisdom that you will need in that relationship, because you will need to change a lot of strategies. The way you're going to be staying is going to be completely different. So that is one thing that you need to do. Let's talk about communication. Keep the communication lines open. You know, when you are in a normal relationship, staying together, and you are not in tune with each other, it's bad enough. But when you are in a long distance relationship, it's going to be double. Just know that the challenges that you have when you are in a normal relationship are going to be double when you are in a long distance relationship. Okay, and it needs a lot of patience. It needs a lot of prayer. Don't ignore any of those things. We are fortunate today. We consider ourselves blessed because we know that communication has become a little bit easier. The network now is a little bit cheaper. A long time ago, for people who were in long distance relationships, they wrote letters. Can you imagine writing a letter and posting it, say for instance, you're in South Africa and your spouse is in Zambia, so you can't afford a phone call. Can you imagine writing a letter or sending a postcard? Can you imagine just how challenging and how painful that relationship was? So today, it's actually better. They've made it better. They've made it a little bit easier because we have the WhatsApp platforms, we've got Skype, and I think there's iMore. There are a few other platforms that you can use as a couple, and that's going to be a little bit cheaper. So it's cheaper to have data now than to make a direct call. So it's been simplified. Keep the communication lines open, okay? Don't go without speaking to each other for a day. That's my advice. Don't be too busy. You need to communicate. Otherwise, you are going to get into trouble. So I want you to note that. Make the most of your time together. So you decide you're going to be in this relationship. Of course, you're going to be meeting. I don't know how often you meet, but if it's going to take you more than 2 weeks to meet your spouse, that's too long. 1 month is too bad. 6 months, that relationship is a problem, okay? Because you can't stay away from each other for too long. I know that other people have gone away because they need to work, okay? They have no choice. So we really pray for grace for such a couple. 2 weeks, a day is bad enough for some people, right? But we can manage a day. We can't even call that a long distance relationship. But if somebody has really settled in another place and you're sitting in another place, then that is what we are talking about. But a week is manageable. A lot of people have jobs where they travel, so a week is really manageable. 2 weeks is good, but a lot of things have to come into play if you're going to go over 2 weeks, okay? You would have to discuss how that relationship is going to work. For 1 month, that is too long. But I'm really concerned about couples that go for six months and 1 year. Please, somebody must tell me, must make me understand, is the relationship still existent if they have to stay apart for 1 year? Okay, 1 year is really too long. I really don't understand. But I'm sure some couples will come back and tell us that they have no choice. They have to make a living. So that is a topic for another day, where you prioritize an income over your relationship. So that is a topic for another day. But right now, I'm talking about making the most of your time together. So, all right, you decide that you're going to meet maybe after a week, or you're going to meet after 2 weeks, whatever times you're going to meet. Just make sure you have undivided attention for each other, because you've been apart for too long. When your spouse comes back home, or you need to go to visit your spouse, it shouldn't be a time when you're getting visitors. It shouldn't be a time when you're running off to a baby shower. It shouldn't be a time when you are going to the stadium to watch your soccer, or to watch any other game. So it shouldn't also be a time when you are just so busy cleaning the house and doing the laundry and moving about the mall, and you need some quality time together. If you are going to make it work, you need to give it a lot of time. Okay, so that is something that you must look out for. Please, if you are online and you know somebody that is in a long distance relationship, I need them to be here. They need to know relationships are breaking because we are not taking care of them. All right. So you make the most, the time that you have, make the best out of it. You make sure that when your spouse is around, have time, talk about what should have been spoken about. I mean, there's just so much to catch up with. When a spouse is away for 1 day, there's still a lot that you need to catch up on. So can you imagine if somebody has been away for a month? There's just so much. But if it's just one of those once-off trips, nothing to worry about. But if it's a decision that you have made that you'll be staying apart, there's just so much that you need to pick up on. All right. Let's talk about trust. I always say, don't put yourself in a situation that will cause your spouse to doubt you. Whatever you're going to do, make sure you do it right. Don't make your spouse begin to trust you, because you are sleeping in another place and your spouse is sleeping in another place. So there has to be mutual trust. You need to trust each other. Don't break the trust, because when you break the trust, it's going to be a whole new ball game. You have to start talking about rebuilding trust. It's another process. It's lengthy. Just it takes long for you to build trust, right? But can you imagine when trust is lost, when the trust is destroyed? Do you know how long it's going to be? Double or triple the effort. So just be sure to be trustworthy. Okay. The next point that I would like to give out is being honest. Be honest with everything that you are doing. That is going to help you. In a long distance relationship, you can't afford not to be honest. You really have to be honest. So this is something that you must also work on. If you're not an honest person, begin today. And if you're in a long distance relationship and you want to be trusted, you need to be honest about everything else that you're doing. Okay, so my last point, is this my last point? I don't want to skip to the next year. So my last point would be to encourage you to also make sure you have a discussion as a couple of how you are going to handle the stress. Okay, the person who's going to stay behind with the children is going to undergo so much stress. So you need to think about how you are going to be paying your bills as well. You need to think about how the children are going to be taken care of and all the other activities that you have as a couple. So that is something that you must bear in mind. So that's it about the long distance relationship. I want to look at, what was the next point? It was why most men marry women. They marry outside their own church. I guess even some women do that. If you know anybody who is single and is struggling to get married or has a complaint that the men in the church are not marrying the women in the church, tag them along, let them come through and listen to what the men have to say. So I'm not going to say so much on this, because what I did was to post this statement and some questions, and I asked the men to respond. That was a while ago, and they responded. So you're going to hear a bit of their responses. So I wrote, I have heard a lot of complaints from single ladies in the Christian faith. Their complaint is that the men in their churches don't ask to marry them. Instead, they bring women from outside, leaving them stranded. And I said, brethren, brothers, what's the problem with the single women in your church? Okay, why are you looking over the fence? That was my question. So I'm sure you've heard it, or you may be one of them. There are some, not even some, I'm sure you have seen that a lot of weddings take place in your church, but is somebody that is coming in from another church. So a woman might, the women usually will go and get married to the people, to the men in the men's churches. So here are the answers to, I'm going to read them out. These are the responses to the men that saw my post. So this person says, I think they are running away from pressure. If you're dating someone from church, people are always expecting to see the couple getting married as soon as possible. And sometimes you're not even ready to commit. Okay, and this person adds on to say, and there's no privacy in church. So it seems it's a problem for the single people. They're saying the church sometimes pressurizes them. So if they're dating somebody within their own church, they feel their pastor is going to come and ask them when they are getting married, and they don't like it. They would like some space. They would like to know this person a little bit longer before they can commit. And they would like some privacy. They don't want people, they don't want people knowing about their private lives. So that is one thing. So this was one response. Another response that I got, and mind you, these are men that are responding. This other person says they are not romantic. They think Jesus is looking at them now. I don't know what this man really wants. He just says they're not romantic. They think Jesus is looking at them. So, ladies, what is happening? But I don't want to even talk about what I think he wants to say. But that is his opinion. He's thinking the women in his church are not. What is it? He doesn't like them. They're not romantic. So he would rather go and look elsewhere. Then this other person says, again, most of the time, God doesn't package well, but he makes sure it's of the best quality. So our sisters miss it because they want that good looking package. Okay. So if you're a single lady in your church, what are you looking out for? This man says, sometimes you don't want certain men that are in your church. You want people that you are looking at the outward appearance. So if you are this kind of a woman, these men are saying they are there in the church, but you are looking at the wrong people. That is why you are missing them. So get it right. It's not about outward appearance. Okay. So this person says, apparently, the church sisters are very judgmental, like they are angels on earth. And when you approach them, they zone you out fast by calling you brother. I found this to be a bit funny, if you may want. But this person says, yeah, stop calling them brother. Just call them, address them by their name. They're saying it's so flat when you just call them brother. So I guess this issue of calling each other sister so and so, sister Francine, or brother James, so they don't like it. So quit that. Just call them by their name. They don't find it romantic. So just use their first names. You got it right. And please tag somebody who is single so they can hear for themselves. Stop calling them brother. They don't like it. It's not nice. It's not romantic. They say it's unromantic. So this other person says they don't marry the women in church because they know their private life and their rudeness and the way of thinking. So these men are saying they know your private life. They know your history. So it's difficult for them to approach you. Okay, so this is a little bit difficult. It's a bit tricky. And I think the men also need to understand that some people, yes, do have a history, a bad one for that matter, but it might be worthwhile to engage into a conversation perhaps, or get to understand the people and see where they are. People don't stay the same. People change, okay? So you can't keep that in mind that this person hasn't changed, okay? So even if you know somebody's history, get to know their better side. Perhaps they have changed. So ladies, unfortunately, this is what is happening. That is why the men are saying they would rather go and get another woman who they don't know about. It is so sad. We need to have a lot of these meetings. I'll talk about it later. So this other person says, where am I? Okay, so this person says church leaders are very judgmental. In the other response, this person says the sisters are judgmental. Now, this person says church leaders are very judgmental and the youths want to play it smart. They want to go out and have freedom secretly. I wouldn't say single ladies aren't prepared for marriage, though there's a high possibility that they are not prepared. Again, they are blaming it on women. Priorities have been misplaced, leaving an important thing that God himself instituted. I can say much, but let me just say marriage was not started by man or woman. It was started by God himself. Before there was a family, there was marriage. Before there was a nation, marriage was. Before society was marriage. Before society was, marriage was. Before schools and any institution was, marriage was. Oh, this person is very poetic. That makes marriage something very important that has to be understood fully before getting in there. Though a little has been done about marriage, where we young men and women think that marriage is only about consummating sexual desires and have children. The bad part of it is that even church leaders are failures in this regard. Any assault on marriage is assault on the nation and the world. I can say much, but there is a need to go back to the roots of marriage and manual of the institution called marriage. I just love what this person wrote. He has spoken about what he feels about marriage and how marriage is important and how much it must be respected. So everybody that is getting into the institution needs to understand, okay, for them to be able to enjoy what marriage is. And one point that this man brings out is an issue of church leaders themselves being failures. So the men are afraid of actually committing because of the leaders that they are exposed to. Okay. So he also speaks about women who are not well prepared. This is a very big problem. He's saying some women, not all of them, he says some women have not been prepared for marriage. So the youth don't feel they should actually engage with, into a relationship with anybody who is not ready. So there's a very big gap in the church and there's a need for that. So that is one point from this person. He has given us so much information, and let those who have ears, let them hear. Somebody else writes, a friend of mine told me that the sisters are too holy. They act like they do not sin. I still don't know what he meant. Okay, we all know what he meant. So if you are going to date somebody because you want to have a sexual relationship, forget it. The women don't want to do that anymore, okay? Unless the foolish ones who think they're going to keep a man by doing that. But those that know and those who know what it entails, they're not going to engage into that. So quit that. Move on and find somebody that thinks like you, perhaps, but this is a wrong way of thinking. If you've just joined us, I'm talking about the men in the churches. There's been a complaint from some single ladies. We have a lot of single ladies in churches that are not getting married, and they are wondering why. So I posted on my page, I was speaking to the men, I asked for responses from them so that the women can be assisted. So that is what I'm dealing with. What I'm reading out right now are responses from these men, the unmarried men. So they have given us quite a bit of information. If you've just joined us, please tag somebody who is single and is wondering why the brothers in the church are not hitting on them. Okay, so another person writes, because the brothers in church call ladies sister, how can you marry your sister? Okay, somebody else actually mentioned that. So ladies, stop the issue of saying brother James. They don't like it. Stop brother John issue. Just call them John. Maybe they feel better to be called like that. They don't feel drawn to you when you go with your issue of, and what normally happens is you are there and I don't even know how to explain it. You are so uptight. They can't even open up a conversation with you. So they are afraid of you, and just quit the issue of brother John and brother James and brother Peter. Just call them by their names, all right? Then the other person says, I think brothers become so holy, filled with the Holy Spirit, and also become so familiar to seeing the sisters to a point that they stop seeing them in a relationship kind of way, but other holy church mates. Okay, so the first point, this person has given me 3 points. So the first point is that some brothers become so holy, they feel so holy, they are not seeing anybody else in the church, they are just concerned about going to church, worshiping, and they are not interested. To such a person, I would say they are not ready. Okay, so if you are not ready for marriage, you're not going to be looking at other people. So the ones that are ready, they will look, okay, they will look, they will see. But if this is the case, which this man says, they're looking at every other person who is in church as, being holy, and they don't want to do anything, they're just there to worship. It's perfect, they can do that. But if you're looking to marry, you have to keep your eyes open. You can't just be saying, I'm just going to worship, if you're going to find somebody at church, okay, unless you want to be introduced. And then the other point that this person gives is that sometimes it's seeing a sister in several relationships. Okay, somebody also complained about this. Sometimes it's seeing a sister in several relationships. There are sisters who have introduced several men to their pastor, and then later it's a silent death. Hence, the other sister in another church, the other sisters in other churches are at an advantage because usually men won't know their history. Men usually are not interested in someone who perhaps went out with someone they know. Okay, that is a very, very good point that he makes. Sometimes women get into relationships and they are not ready. This is a church, remember? And I always talk about the issue of people in church. Don't date if your intention is not to get married, okay? If you don't want to get married, don't get into a relationship. What happens is that you get into a relationship, it doesn't work out with John, and then you quit, okay? You leave the relationship. And then you get into another relationship with Peter, it doesn't work. The same church. And then another one comes in, Javan comes in, you are again dating Javan. So all these people are watching you. In the end, they don't want you. They'll wait for that new person to come who doesn't know your history. This is what the men are talking about. So women, take good care of this. You don't have to date so many people. Nobody wants to date a woman who has dated 10 men. That's very difficult. So take care of yourselves, ladies. And then he goes on to say, however, the church has a great assignment to do. A lot of, he says the church has a great assignment to do a lot of youth functions like singles fellowship for young men and women to mingle outside the wall of the church so that they can get attracted to each other and marry from within, okay? So from what the others have contributed, I can comfortably say that this one is going to be a problem because a lot of them have actually said the women are dating too many men, so they are not being attractive. The men in the church are not attracted to them because they've been to too many places. Okay, they have dated 5 people within the church. I knew one person in church that moved from one woman to another. That's not right. You can't be dating like that. If you are not ready, just don't date. Don't waste people's time, okay? And as children of God, we should even show a better example. So if you date just like any other person that is, out there, I don't know what's going on in your mind, but it should never be like that. Begin to date only when you are ready. Okay, it's not an issue of just wanting to have somebody by your side. And by the way, there was a time when I mentioned that people date for 2 reasons. That is what I know. They would date for pleasure, or they would date because they want to find somebody that they can marry. So just find out what your heart is about. Where are you? Do you want to date for pleasure, or do you want to date for, so that you can get somebody that you want to marry? There's something to look at. This person also concludes by saying, we shall continue getting shocks of worship leaders falling pregnant, or this kind of story. It's a shame, it's sad, and it's something that needs to be looked at. So for the singles, this is what I had. I hope you got a point or 2, something that you need to work on. I don't remember when, but I hosted a singles fellowship. We had a number of ladies and a few men, I think 2. Men didn't show up, but we had a lot of ladies who came. And I'll be hosting another one. Please make sure you attend that one so that you can learn a little bit more. The ladies out there, you don't have to date every man that comes along. You just heard what the men in the church are saying. They don't want a woman who has been all over the world, and they don't want to date somebody who dated a friend of theirs or anybody that they know in church. I mean, it's just not right. I wouldn't do that anyway. But that's it for the singles. That's it for the singles. For the men in church, tag somebody. Now I'm going to talk about dating your spouse. Tag somebody who is married. Tag somebody who you think is going to benefit from this particular one. I posted the other day, I'm not sure when, about our date night. Okay, so I got married in 1995, and when you get married, a lot of times you're feeling, okay, we have arrived, and everything is okay. But with time, you get relaxed. You relax about these things. You relax about buying presents, the the anytime gifts also, we stopped doing those things. We stopped looking very good, good to impress. We just start doing our own thing. So yes, it happened to me. I became a bit relaxed. I had my child, and my husband and I were excited. We had our child, and life was beginning to center around the child. And then, work and church and the baby. And so anyhow, thank God for us. We realized by the third year of our marriage that that's not how life was going to be. If we were going to continue enjoying each other, we needed to step it up. So that's exactly what we did. We decided we are going to be dating, and we felt, okay, on Fridays, we are going to set time aside and we are just going to date. So it became a new ball game. I was excited, he was excited. So this is what we would do. Every Friday night, we would make sure we didn't have anybody coming home. We would make sure our helper was home to take care of our children. And we made sure that, no, that time did we have one? Yeah, I think we had one that time, yeah. So we made sure there was somebody to take care of our daughter, and my husband would get home early enough so that he could rest and refresh, because then we had just changed countries and I was staying at home most of the time. So remember, if you're home most of the time, you're also getting a bit bored. So your friend is at work and doing a few other things, interacting and all that. So anyway, my story goes, we decided to make it a little bit live, to make it a little bit interesting for us. So I would like to encourage everybody that is married to step it up, because you are going to get very bored. You are going to get very bored. What has been happening is so sad. I meet a lot of people, especially people in the kingdom of God. You are so boring. I can tell you that you're very boring. You just want to go to work and come home and watch TV. Hey, did you buy bread? And this is my favorite. Hey, for those that listen to me most of the time, or those that have come to any of my sessions, I always remind you, did you buy bread? Have the children eaten? And you sit, your mommy and daddy, and you sit and you watch TV. And how boring is that? Okay, somebody's watching soccer, somebody's washing the dishes, and then you go to bed. It's very boring. It's a very boring lifestyle. You need to step it up. So this is what we did. We decided, okay, since I was home most of the time, I was going to look at the places that we were going to go to venture into. So I would look at movies, what was showing, or my husband would be interested in just anything, and then he would tell me if he liked a movie, and I would go and see the schedules and everything else. And sometimes we just want to dine, we just want to go and sit. So when it came to, okay, if we watched movies, there was really nothing much to talk about. We'd just go and find something really exciting, something that we both enjoyed. Sometimes we would go out for comedy and laugh. We would laugh the night away. Something that both of you can just enjoy is really great. So we watched a lot of movies. My husband really loves movies, okay? He loves movies. At some point, I think he used to do some, reviews, okay? So, but he's just a movie person, so I got into that as well. So we would pick something that we both enjoyed, and we would just laugh our way, through the night. And when it came to dining, we would dine, okay? We would go to a wonderful restaurant, and I would dress so nicely, dress to kill, and he would also dress nicely. So really it's about maintaining, being attractive to each other. Okay, so I should still look like the Francine that he met. Okay, now I've grown a little bit bigger in size. He's also grown and he's got some gray hair, but we are fine with that. But then we had to maintain the standard, and we just had to get more interested in what we were doing. So we would go to a restaurant, find a good restaurant, something affordable. I would advise you to find something affordable. Okay, now this is my story, so I'll tell you what we did so that you can have your own story, do something that is going to work for you. Okay, so we would go out. Then, yeah, we were not here in South Africa. We were staying in another country. We left Zambia quite early. I think in our second or third year of our marriage, we left our family, we left our country. It was just him, our daughter, and myself. So it was the three of us. So we really had to take good care of ourselves. So we would go and have a good meal. We would talk, and He would complain. He would tell me about work. I would tell him about school. By the way, I went back to school. So I would tell him about school, and I would tell him, we'll talk about our fears. So it became something that we really enjoyed doing, okay? We would look forward to it. And so we decided, okay, every time we come out, we're going to just talk about anything. Let's feel free. Let's just talk. So we started talking about our fears. So I'll talk to him about what I feared. He would tell me what he feared. And we talk about dreams. What do I want to do, in future? And what does he want? What does he wish? And sometimes the dreams have been different. And it's okay to have different dreams from your spouse because they are two different individuals. So it's perfect. Dream differently, but see how you can get to mix the two, okay? Sometimes it's just dreaming. Don't be scared of dreaming. Just dream. It's okay to dream, even if it's going nowhere. It's just okay to dream. And then the most important thing that we did when we went out to dine was to talk about the week. We would go through the week, okay, what happened and what we did. So there were times when we really upset each other, okay? So, it's inevitable. When you stay with somebody, you will always upset each other in one way or the other. You are two different individuals, you have different beliefs and everything else. So we would upset each other. And so it was time to make up during dinner and we would talk about it. Now, I think one thing that is really important about this is that I would say my husband is very patient. He's very patient. He used to be impatient, but he has grown to be very patient. But at that time, he was willing, being the head, he was willing to listen. So I remember when we did our counseling, our pastor had told us that, we should always communicate. If we didn't manage to speak out, we should write a note. It's something that we always did. So we took off knowing that we needed to communicate. Ladies, especially ladies, those issues that you do when you are asked, what's the problem? Nothing. What's the problem? Nothing. Okay. So I did a bit of that. I did a lot of nothings until I realized that nothings take you nowhere. They don't work. So this is what we did. We would talk. I would talk about my frustrations. I would talk about what I thought was unfair in the relationship. I would talk about what I thought he was doing wrong, and I would give him a piece of my mind. I would just tell him, everything that I wasn't happy with, and he took it. Okay, that was the good part. He took it. And then he would tell me about what he thought about me. He would tell me every little nonsense and immature things that I did. Sometimes we can be immature, okay, and be thinking everything is fine. Yes, I was immature. I'm sure some of you are in that place, but we need to grow up. So we did this exercise, and he would correct me. He would tell me as much as I would tell him. So we made up our minds, okay. Sometimes it would be so, the first few times, not sometimes, the first few times it was so sad for me because I felt embarrassed. I must say, I felt a little bit embarrassed, and it's like, oh, I thought I was doing this right, but what happened here? And sometimes it was like a punch, right there, and I felt it anyway. I felt it. You know what it's like when you're told what you are doing wrong. It's something, it's not a very good feeling, but I had to stomach it. Sometimes I wanted to defend myself, and but thank God, I did try to defend myself in the beginning, I must confess. If you speak to him, he will tell you. And sometimes when you are told that you're doing something wrong, you want to cry, especially women. Hey, women love to cry. So there were moments where I felt so upset that this had been spoken about me, and I'm thinking, how dare you? How could you say that? And I'll get upset. I threw a bit of tantrums there. But with time, okay, we went on, and we went on and we got used. And then we started really enjoying the exercise every weekend. There was a time where we did it every weekend. Every weekend he was around, because those who know my husband, he's got a job which requires him to travel. So yeah, so when he was around, we always went out, and it was just the two of us, and the children would stay behind. So I would throw tantrums. If you are throwing tantrums, it's part of the process, but it's a time to grow up. So yes, this is what the date nights did for us. And I would actually, what can I say about it today? Well, it went on for a while. We started looking forward to the nights, and it became more positive by the day. So we would go, and it's not all the time. Okay, the first few times we had so much to talk about. The first few times we had complaints, and we had solutions for those complaints. But after that, we didn't have so much to complain about. Now it was just a friendly chat. Okay, we would ask each other, okay, so last time you complained about this, do you think I have changed? And okay, we would give each other feedback. No, I think you have changed. I think you are doing great here, and I'm happy about this. And if you ask me today, we don't have so much to complain about because we don't keep anything, for long. We have now learned that we don't have to wait for that date night. Okay, so what happens now in the date night is purely romantic. It's just a wonderful getaway for us. We are not going out to talk about the differences. We are able to do that because we have matured, we have moved on, and we're really thankful to God for that. And I'm really thankful to God because I'm a changed person, and what else do I want to talk about a date night? So we went for movies, and we went for dining. Then there were times when we didn't have money. We didn't have money to go out to those, because you know how life is. 1 minute you have all the money, and the next you don't have much. So we've been through our own motions, but that is a topic for another day. But when we didn't have money, let's get to the dating. When we didn't have money, sometimes we took a walk. Hey, we just take a walk, 10 minutes. I really don't love walking. I don't like walking. My husband loves walking, but because he asked, then I would go. So we are not talking about, a kind of walk, a brisk walking. No, it's purely romantic. You're just looking around and, holding hands and chatting, talking about the day, and just enjoying each other's company, each other's presence. So that is what we did. We took a walk. And when we couldn't take a walk, say for instance, due to weather, we stayed indoors because we love movies. Then we would say, okay, this is what we are going to watch tonight. Pop some popcorns if we had them in store. And we would set up a movie. My husband is very good at that, so he would get something that we love and something that we enjoy. I don't enjoy everything that he enjoys. Like I said earlier, we are two different people. So I'm more on the family, romantic drama kind of movies. So okay, we would meet each other halfway. Sometimes we would have to do exactly what he wants, or he would have to watch what I want if we couldn't get a movie that we can both watch. So we sat in our living room and we made that our movie house. So right there in your home, you can make yourselves comfortable. So in short, don't stop dating. There's so many benefits to this. Don't feel too tired, okay? And don't get too familiar with each other. When you get too familiar with each other, I'm telling you, you are going to bore each other to death. That is where now extramarital affairs come in. You open up doors when you keep each other on your toes, keep each other feeling excited, okay? So, that is all I had. I hope you have learned something. I just want to look at the comments here and I want to see if there's something that I can respond to. But yes, so I posted that and I've seen a lot of people have looked at it. I hope people are not just looking at it and liking it. Look at it, learn from it, implement, A lot of times we read books, we watch, we go to seminars. If you don't implement, it's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. Okay, so every time you come across a tip, implement it. Okay. Oh, Yvonne, I'm watching, and somebody was tagged there. Distance means so little when someone means so much. Amen to that, Kay Austin. To my friend I have invited on this live. is a relationship coach. Please follow her page. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Natasha, for recommending my page. Hello, Mr. Piri. Mr. Piri has joined. There's Lily Mukala there. Hi. And we do that. Okay, Sinotile. Yeah, Sinotile. Wonderful if you do that. I'm so happy. I guess you're talking about the date night. And sorry, I want to say it's true. Oh, okay. I don't know what you mean. Sinotile. Okay. And there is Sinotile again. We thank God. Okay, she's responding basically to what I'm saying. And how did I forget you on this one? Okay. She's still tagging her friends. I love the way you define distance relationship. Thanks. Okay, wonderful, Michael. That's Francine Chirambo, a woman of God. Follow her page. Okay, thank you so much, Natasha. You have done a wonderful job. I'm sure your friends are going to be so happy that they came. You know, I'm always happy to come out here just to share my tips. I have worked this. Husband and I will be celebrating our 24th wedding anniversary, and we are still so excited about each other. It can work for you. Okay, so you just need to learn a number of things and you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. But also, I would like to encourage you to keep God in the center of everything that you do. Okay, get to pray. You pray alone because you need to have to establish your own relationship with God, and then you can pray as a couple. Pray together. Pray for the family. Pray for the children. Pray for the marriage. It's very important. I spend a lot of time doing that. I just love to be in the presence of God. Something that I have learned about the presence of God is that every time I spend time in the presence of God, I know that I am renewed. I know that I'm not the same. I am transformed. You know, there are so many things when I look back that I used to do, and I don't do them anymore. And it's simply because I feel God has worked inside my heart. So that can work for you. That can help you. It can assist you. So let's get to pray together. All right. So this is what I had for today. I just want to remind you that for those that are in Gauteng, especially those that are in Pretoria, we are going to have our women's session on the 8th of June at the Innovation Hub from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Please get in touch with me for more details, but it's a Titus 2 vision. You know, Titus 2 speaks about training the men, training the women. You know, men must learn how to take care of their wives. They must learn how to take care of their family. Sometimes a lot of men have forgotten that they are the head. They want to be the supporter. They want to be a helper. If you're a man and you want to be a helper, you have not understood what God wants you to do. But I am here to help you. We are here to help you, and we just want you to be encouraged and just to know that, you know what, we can all learn. Okay, we can all learn. We have learned, so you can also learn. Okay, you just need to have a teachable spirit. If you are proud, you are not going to learn, so you need a teachable spirit. So the one that we are going to have on the 8th is for the women, but we would love a lot of men to come on board. You know, a lot of these relationships can be sorted out if only men had a teachable spirit. Okay, we need more men to attend seminars. We need more men to attend workshops. And one thing I would like to do is to work with a lot of pastors. We need to work together so that we can help out in these relationships. And there are a lot of pastors who are in trouble themselves. You heard it from the response that I read from this man. We have pastors that are in trouble, but they don't know what to do. Get in touch with me. Let's pray together. Let me guide you. Okay, so that's it about the Titus 2 vision. We teach the men and we teach the women. So women can learn to love. Women should be taught to take care of their homes. Some of these things are not automatic. We need to be taught. Okay, they need to be taught about the word of God. We need to be taught to pray, to be prayer warriors, you know. And yes, there's a lot to learn. I really enjoy the sessions that we are doing. Okay, that's all. That's one session. But so we have these sessions every month, by the way. If you like, we have them every month. In September, we are going to have a couples retreat. Get in touch with me for more details if you would like to be a part of it. This time around, we're going to be talking about communication. Communication is very vital in any relationship. It does not matter how long you've been married. We just need to learn the different strategies. We need to learn how to communicate effectively, okay? So that is what we'll be talking about. In the previous sessions, we spoke about teamwork, and we spoke about going back to basics. It's important that we keep reminding each other. Come on, church, we have so much work to do. And then Zambia, my country. Okay, we are going to have a dinner and a workshop in August. Get ready. We are going to, I'll give you more information about it. As soon as possible, I'll be able to give you the information. But yes, we are going to have one in Zambia so that we can also have fun there in my own country. But it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful being here. I'll be online again on Wednesday. Please make a date with me, 3 p.m. every Wednesday. Okay, so from me, Francine Chirambo, your relationship coach, let's talk some loving. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.